Everyone. Thank you all for coming, for participating. Um, Welcome to ICA's Forum on Stolen Children and Their Saviors, focused on raising awareness on human trafficking, which is a very important topic, as you can imagine. I would like to start by welcoming our esteemed panelists, two good friends of ICA, two of the most recognized women in India working for more than a decade, combating this problem and rehabilitating the life of the victims. Hasina Kariba of Impulse Network, based in Shillong, and Triveni Acharya of the Rescue Foundation, based in Mumbai, ably moderated by Karma Pajor, the well-known journalist and television news anchor. I would also like to welcome our ICA Circle of Family and Friends here in the US, who are always there to support our causes, and those in India, our NGO partners doing such outstanding work for underprivileged communities all across India. Indians for Collective Action, ICA, as we fondly call it, is a San Francisco Bay Area nonprofit with a mission to empower a secure and healthy life for all in a sustained environment and a just society through collective action. For over 5 decades now, we have nurtured social activists, spawned many initiatives, and supported innovative community-led development projects in over 20 states of India and distributed over 8 million, most of it in the last decade. We partner with dedicated social workers and activists in India and in the US, many of whom have logged in today in support of ICA and its ideals. I would also like to welcome the ICA Executive Committee, who are all here today. A shout out to Padma Chari, who heads the Forum Initiative, and Lata Patil, an ICA visionary who has worked very hard to put this forum together for all of us. So welcome everyone, and without much ado, I would like to hand over this virtual podium to Lata Patil. Thank you.
Thanks, Reshma. Thanks for sort of highlighting ICA's projects and the programs that we have been doing for so long. Hello, everyone. Again, I add my welcome to Reshma's, and especially those of you joining us from India at this very early hour, and a special welcome to our guest. As Reshma mentioned, ICA for more than 50 years has been guided by its mission to bringing equity to the marginalized by supporting development projects in India with a special focus on social entrepreneurs who are initiating these projects and transforming people's lives. These development projects are usually around health, education, poverty alleviation, and issues around water conservation. And we all know about that right here in California. And of course, the empowerment of women and girls. And there are other new projects coming along all the time. If you go to our website and click on projects, you will see, so many NGOs doing a variety of projects and sort of confronting different kinds of issues that come across them. Okay, so do take a look at that and you will realize what all of that is. These quarterly forums, though, are unique, not only in its format, but in its intent. The goal is to engage ICA members and others in the community, as well as our partners here and in India, by bringing subject matter experts to give us a more deeper look into the critical social issues. We hope to be motivating more in the community to become involved in the civil society activities. Today, we are here to better understand the prevalence of human trafficking with a special spotlight on India. Human trafficking has become a huge global concern that eventually impacts everyone, all of us, in fact. Right here in California, it is impacting no matter which country is involved. It is thought to be one of the most heinous crimes against humanity, reducing people as a commodity to be bought and sold. According to the numbers from the International Labour Organization, ILO, at any given time, it is estimated that more than 40 million people in the world are in a modern slavery, with a huge number disproportionately affected are women, girls, and children. And some of the numbers I've seen is like 90% of the trafficked people are women and girls, kind of a thing. The Nobel Peace Prize winner, Kailash Satyarthi, whose organization, Bachpan Bachao Andolan, works to protect vulnerable children in India, had recently a comment that I read. And that where he says that the human trafficking is not simply a health crisis or economic crisis. This is the crisis of justice, of humanity, of childhood, of the future, stolen and lost by an entire generation. Today, we are privileged and honored to bring you experienced perspectives on this critical issue from two of the most recognized change makers in India, both of them widely recognized as authorities working on this issue. Much followed in social media and great demand as speakers, both of them. They clearly understood that it's the citizens like you and me, who have to take action to alleviate this concern. And they will be sharing with us their journey over decades of working on combating the problem impacting the lives of many victims, and then rehabilitating them into society. From them, we will also hear that there's more work to be done in the area of prevention to address the root causes of the problems, the vulnerabilities, the traumas that can set the stage for a person to be trafficked. And calls for support from all of us, our members, our families, our ICA team, ICA members, and general community. My own personal hope is that the pandemic has most probably created a window of opportunity to disrupt and reimagine such social issues from the wisdom and experience of people like our speakers. I'm going to start introducing our speakers. Triveni Acharya, a journalist, and Padma, you can, yes, but right, okay. Triveni Acharya, a journalist and the writer, is the founder president of Rescue Foundation, devoted to the rescue, rehabilitation, and repatriation of victims of human trafficking in different parts of India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Their signature program, the foundation's signature program of conducting brothel raids is, since 1993, is one which includes providing counseling, job training, conducting intelligence-based operations, and assisting the police and anti-trafficking units. Okay. All right, I think they're all here. A lifelong humanitarian, Triveni's passion for justice and the sense of empathy has been recognized by various organizations. She has received the Uttarakhand Salute Award, has received the Sri Shakti Award for Women Entrepreneurs, and the Humanitarian Honorary of World of Children Award. Triveni, welcome. I next move on to introducing our other speaker, Hasina Kareeb, Ashoka Fellow and Aspen Fellow, founder and managing director of Impulse Social Enterprises, who also for decades has been working to provide a sustainable livelihood in a safe environment for women and children. What started out as a mission in our home state of Meghalaya has today evolved into a global program that aims to put an end to human trafficking and exploitation worldwide. She is recipient of many awards like the Guardians of Humanity Award, Excellence in Human Rights, and in 2020, she received the Prerona Award, an initiative to celebrate and honor women with distinction. You will also be interested in hearing that several videos has been made about Hasina's work and her journey to address human trafficking. I think if you go to her Impulse website, you'll catch all of those kind of things. Do that. It's amazing what she's done in all these years. We are truly honored to have them all with us today. Our moderator, Karma Pajo, is an award-winning Indian journalist and entrepreneur whose journalistic career spans 20 years, starting with Times of India. He worked at CNBC TV 18 as a founding employee, where he has spent 12 years heading various teams and programs doing broadcast journalism. He has produced, directed, and anchored several award-winning programs for CNN News 18, and currently owns his own media house. He's also the recipient of several awards, including the Reporter of the Year by IndianTelevision.com, and has twice received the prestigious Ramnath Goenka Award for Excellence in Journalism, and many more. He's also the Chevening Scholar based in Kingdom. A warm welcome to all these three amazing people. We are thrilled to have them bring to us their experiences and make us understand better this deeply problematic kind of a issue that we are facing, all of us are facing today. Before I invite Karma to start the conversation with our speakers, I would like to make a few requests of our audience. I know everybody is muted, but so please do stay on mute the whole session. Use the chat box to ask questions, post comments, and please include your email addresses just in case you want us to connect back with us. And also, I would also like to suggest that add your URL for the nonprofits that you are working with. I want to remind you, I think you already know, I want to remind you that the speaker view automatically highlights the person talking, so you don't have to do anything about it. Lastly, please use the emoticons to show the support to our speakers. One of the reasons, these three people, Triveni, Hasina, and Karma, have been working for several weeks right now to just bring to our audience just absolutely the perfect kind of a presentation. And Karma has been working with them, to make that happen. So I think they would appreciate the emoticons that we can post on them. So please do that. And now I will invite Karma to join us and start the conversation with Hasina and Triveni. Welcome, Karma.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me, Tata.
Yes, I can.
At the onset, I would just like to wish you all on Ganesh Chaturthi. Today's Ganesh Chaturthi, a very auspicious day. I think a fantastic day to have this conversation and ask Ganpati Baba to remove all obstacles. And that said, I will have a few obstacles. The doorbell might ring in the middle. It's early morning here in India, not so early anymore. The pressure cooker whistle might disturb you because it's the utensil of choice in all our homes here. And breakfast is being prepared. My son might decide to join me and say hi to you. So for all that, I would like to apologize in advance. Thank you, the ICA leadership and members, for picking up such an important topic. You already know that for Hasina, Triveni, and I, it's a topic that we are very passionately following, that we believe in, and all of us jointly want to remove this from our society once and for all. And whatever we do, as we speak, it's still a drop in the ocean, and there's so much to do. If I'm just look at some of the numbers, in 2019, now this is the last recorded figure that is there, the National Crime Records Bureau here said that there were about 2,260 cases of human trafficking that were actually registered. And we don't believe this figure because thousands of traffic cases are not recorded at all. Why? Because human traffickers target the most vulnerable communities residing in remote corners, the hills. And this problem that all of us are seeing is spread out throughout this region. So if you look at Nepal, if you look at Myanmar, if you look at Bangladesh, so in effect, the entire region works as the source point for human trafficking, as the transit point for human trafficking, and also, in many cases, as the destination point. When I met Hasina some years ago, we decided to work together. My primary goal here was to sensitize journalists. So we started the press lab, where we wanted to train journalists. And this is one area that we are lacking behind totally. And journalists just report on stories that break, in the sense if there is a human trafficking ring that is broken and it makes for good video stories, so they go, they take videos. So in the entirety, no one is able to report in depth. Now, with the press lab that we started and I had with Hasina, we have tried to change that. What we did was that we brought in journalists from Myanmar, Bangladesh, India, and Nepal together, and we trained them. We took them to all these countries. We trained them and got them to report. We'll be very happy to inform you all that one of the journalists who reported went extensively, traveled to Bangladesh and reported on women who were sold as brides, child brides, into slavery in Kashmir. She was able to meet them, tell their stories, and able to connect them with their families. And that story has been, I can't name that award, is going to get an international award. So that is the story that we've done and managed. I mean, more importantly, we managed to connect families. So that's where we are at. We're also at a very critical juncture with the onset of COVID-19. Hundreds of families, thousands of families lost their jobs. They were left without income. And we've again pushed lakhs of people into that vulnerable area where they can again be targeted by human traffickers. And this year, because of this COVID impact, we are expecting the numbers to rise significantly. In fact, if we just look at the distress calls received by the helplines of the Ministry of Women and Child Development, they received about 27 lakh calls, and intervention has been done only in about 1,92,000 distress calls. So you can just imagine the enormity of this whole issue. So with that, my 5 minutes are up, and I'd like to invite Triveni and Hasina to begin with giving you a kind of slice of their journey, what they have gone through till now, and what they're expecting. So I'd like to invite Triveni first. Triveni, you started, when you were a journalist, you traveled. How has the journey for you been so far?
Yeah, thank you, Karma, and thank you, ICA, to inviting me for this forum. Yeah, when I was journalist, and in 1993, some assignment for the red light area. So our filmy hero going there for a Rakhi, and I go for as a journalist to collect the news. And that time, turning point of my life, because I have no idea what is the red light area and what is the human trafficking. And when I saw so many girls and women are in dark corner, and it's disturbing me a lot, and I decided to work for them, and I talked with my husband, and then we start to rescue the women and children from the red light district. But it's very difficult and very challenging, because my neighbor, my community, my family, everywhere they oppose our activity. Our neighbor also thinking they are the bad people, they are from red light district, they are sex worker. And every time my neighbor and my circle people, my friend also opposed my activity. Yeah, but slowly we start the work, and now uh, over the more than 25 years, we rescued the more than 6,000 girls and women from the sex slavery, and we rehabilitate more than 15,000 women and children. So we run the shelter home in India, 3 in Maharashtra, 1 is in Delhi, and every year 500 women and children got the admission in our shelter home. Sorry, my English is not good, but I want to try to express my feeling that human trafficking is very worst in India, and nobody wants to hear about the human trafficking. Yeah, it's a social stigma. Till today, nobody want to hear about the human trafficking. So thank you for IKEA to give this platform.
Right, Triveni ji, thank you so much. Have you finished your opening statements? Okay, so Triveni ji really works with rescue and rehabilitation, and she's been doing that for several decades. So thousands of women have been rescued by her organization. Now I'd like to bring in Hasina. Hasina's organization, whom I work closely with, works on the 6 P's, as she calls it: partnership, prevention. They are working with several partners across prevention, protection. They are working with police of several countries, working with the press like me, and prosecution, seeing that prosecution is carried out. I'd like to invite you, Hasina, for your opening remarks now.
Thank you, Karma. I mean, when I talk about human trafficking, here the journey of 25 years has passed, but we've still seen that human trafficking still exists in various countries in various parts of the world. And the region that I represent, the northeast of India, which comprise of 8 states, the 7 sisters and 1 brother. Now, if I go back into the journey, why I got into addressing human trafficking, I think it happened by a situation when we as an organization was working in a small village in Meghalaya in the East Khasi Hill district, trying to provide resilience market to artisans who are involved in bamboo and cane. Now, the blanket ban from the Supreme Court of India way back in 89, 90s, actually disrupt indigenous population from access to the economic livelihood, where they majorly depend on forests. The movement of people during that period of time, because people lost their lost their employment opportunity, and children and women were moving from most of these vulnerable communities in the northeast of India. And I was left unaware what exactly was happening. As me and my team was trying to unveil and understand the situation, and I was participating in a South Asia conference and listening to all the organizations who work on this area, I was basically open to the window that these missing children and missing people from the region could be victims of human trafficking. Coming back without a solution, but coming back, trying to intervene, to address the issue, me and my group of friends starting connecting to all these organizations through email and asking if there's anybody from the northeast of India who might have been trafficked to any red light area in India. Please get back to us. We would like to intervene. The first email that came, the reply, I think I will never forget the reply from Prerna, the organization run by Praveen and Preeti Patkar, that they had 2 girls from Meghalaya that has been rescued from Kamatipura, one of the largest red light area in Mumbai, and 1 girl from Tripura. Now, those 3 cases led us to work in intervening, how to actually bring back girls who have been trafficked to the region in many, many metropolitan cities in India. And that is where Impulse model, which Karma was just mentioned, was born. It was born out of an intervention of a case documentation, understanding the consequence And all the step-to-step data documentation, whether we're talking from the report to the rescue, rehabilitation, repatriation, and reintegration, which is called the 6 R's, and the Impulse model stands on 12 pillars, was born out of the case intervention. And since then, there has been no looking back for me and my team and all the partner organization that stands together as collective leaders in the Northeast of India to take this journey collectively. And that is where Impulse NGO Network stands strongly, that a common vision with a single window approach is a way forward to address human trafficking.
Right. And if I don't make Hasina stop, in fact, she can go on talking for 24 hours because she's so passionate about her work. Thank you, Hasina, for stopping early. I appreciate it. So the COVID pandemic came, and I was talking to Triveni yesterday, and she was telling me some very interesting, facts that at one time, when they were going in for rescue, they saw women from Nepal, Darjeeling, Kalimpong, especially North Bengal areas being trafficked. And that was when they were working. But slowly that trend has changed. Now the area from where people are being trafficked more and more are from the Seven Sisters, the lovely states of the Northeast where I am based right now. Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Meghalaya. So all these states. Now what is happening is in the garb of spas and salons, is what is being carried out. Triveni, can you highlight on this recent issue that you are seeing and what we as a community can do to prevent this?
Yeah, thank you, Karma. Yesterday, I have talked with you about the now scenario change. 25 years ago, the Nepali and Darjeeling girls, so many Nepali and Darjeeling girls are in red light district. But now, Manipur, Meghalaya, Nagaland, so many girls are in spa, massage parlor. The name of massage parlor and spa, so many girls are in forced prostitution. So during COVID and after COVID, also so many girls and children are trafficked from Northeast. So when transport and train, everything is stopped, but human trafficking is not stopped. So our rescue activity are going on. Police are not available. They are in different activity for the COVID, but we always request to police to come with us because we get the information from our information network. We have a huge informer network in all over India. So we got the information from our informant, our spy, and we not even wait for the week for police. So we request the police, and we rescued the last 1.5 years. We rescued the more than 500 girls and children from the forced prostitution, from the child labor, and different area. But they all are trafficked.
Right. And Hasina, according to you, your work, it's an interesting point that Triveni brought out that despite, the entire country being on lockdown, human trafficking was going on. I was also shocked to know in my own state of Sikkim, children from a very vulnerable tribe, the Tea tribe of Assam, about 100 children were trafficked to Sikkim to work in homes as child labor. They were rescued. How did it happen? How were they able to have access to transportation?
So when we're looking at the scenario of human trafficking today, I mean, COVID-19, although everybody was on lockdown, but the demand for cheap labor, the demand for sexual exploitation continue to increase. Now, when we go back to trends, I think 25 years, that's what Triveni was just mentioning, the kind of movement of people, the source point, the transit and destination has changed drastically. But when we're going back into transportation, as you just mentioned right now, how does people get transport, or shifted from a source to a destination? While we're seeing businesses closing down, while we're seeing people losing their jobs and employment, we're also seeing that people who need labor are accessing more cheap labor during the period of time of COVID. And that, having said that, it's mostly people buying these kits, as child labor, which is like at one time. So money is being given one time to a recruiter who actually would help to send these kids to these homes, because many of these families require labor in their own houses. So that is situation that always happened when there is any form of disaster, whether it's a man-made or a non-man-made. So that is where we've seen trends, and even during COVID-19, that trend did not drop. In fact, the trend continued to happen, but basically in isolation. The other factor is that online exploitation increased drastically. Now, from the number of cases that Impulse NGO Network under the Impulse model, we have worked collectively with organization. Of course, we work closely with Triveni as well on cases that we report from the Northeast, or when rescue takes place in the destination point like Mumbai, and we would facilitate repatriation. We have seen that more than cases that has grown in the period of COVID is online exploitation. The dark web today. I know we are talking to people in the Silicon Valley. We are talking to people, the tech people. But amazingly, how online exploitation increases, looking from data that India has, that pornographic site increases drastically. While people are having an inbound migration, loss of job, but we're also having transaction of money online where people are buying exploitation online. So the shift of trafficking happened to the four walls of a room, where people having access to technology and accessing exploitation. So that is the kind of trend that has changing drastically over the last 1 year. So having said that human trafficking can happen to anybody today. It can happen to people who are educated using technology and accessing, connecting themselves to the unknown. That is a number of cases that we have dealt in the last 1 year, and it has not dropped down at all.
Right. In fact, just recently, Hasina and her team, they were trying to track the trafficking of 2 girls on the internet, and that led to, in fact, a drug bust in a major city in the Northeast. So a lot of activity is happening online. Triveni, for those people who want to join in, who want to help you in your cause, who want to be on the lookout, what kind of training do you provide, and how can we help?
Yeah, so we need the volunteer for the rescue operation. Youth can join us in India. Yeah, and other people like ICA, like a USA volunteer, can raise awareness about the human trafficking. And we need the volunteer like teachers, trainer. We need the health. The most of girls. Now we have more than 400 girls in our 4 shelter home. So mental health issue and everything. So we need the volunteer like psychologist, psychiatrist, gynecologist, teachers, trainer, but only female. And for long term, not for 3 week, 4 week, because and it's a very sensitive issue, very traumatized girls in our shelter home. So we need the help from the India. I request particular to you, Karma. You are journalist, and you can raise the awareness about the human trafficking, because I got the call, so many call from the community about the bird, injured bird, and about the cow, but I not got the call about the human trafficking. So our neighbor state and in our public transports, our train, mail access train, so many children and women are trafficked, but some people not even knowing about the human trafficking. So awareness about the human trafficking. So we need the volunteer. We need the volunteer for the social media to create the awareness about the human trafficking. And of course, we need the fund for the our activity. So
Right. Right. It's interesting that you point this out, Triveni, because I'm aware that whenever there is abuse of animals, especially dogs, there's an outcry, it goes viral. Even in the press, there's a lot of reporting. But when it comes to slavery and our own people being trafficked like animals, then nobody kind of speaks out. Point that I understand. Hasina, let's talk about, before I ask Hasina, I would also like to tell you that you can ask questions to both Hasina and Triveni. You can put your questions on the chat box. After we finish this little question answer session, I will put those questions to both of them, and you can put the name of the person that you're directing the question to. Hasina, let's talk about the law, 2018 bill that they enacted. That lapsed. Also, there was a lot of backlash, but the new bill against human trafficking, which kind of brings all the laws together and brings them together in its entirety, is there. Is it good? How do you see this new law?
As a person who have worked for many years and having read the bill in depth, and I think the bill has been again placed this year, 2021, where there has been a circulation for inputs from the NGOs and other stakeholders, as well as roundtable with the ministry that I was there 2 weeks ago. I see the bill as a way forward for India to respond to human trafficking in a more efficient manner. But efficiency in responding to human trafficking needs multiple stakeholders to come together. So convergence of ministries is a must, looking at a centralized ministry that will actually coordinate and bring organization like us into the forum, so that there is more of a support services that happen together. It cannot be done or work in isolation. So I think the bill needs to go a little bit of dive deep to look in terms of civil society engagement in a more constructive manner. That is still in progress. The other factor is that while we're looking for that constructive relationship of the nonprofit and the government, the lack of resources or the dissemination of resources, needs to also be brought together, like what Triveni said. You need resources, and resources has to be, it's also drying down from India completely, in the anti-trafficking space. We're having less and less resources. And when we talk about resources and the problem and how the trends is changing, where the bill is actually taking forward, we need a collective action. And I think when we look at ICA, looking at India, supporting India, I think they can come on board to really facilitate that kind of support. So enable this bill to be a reality, because a bill cannot be a reality without action on the ground. The other factor is, I think, journalists, in-depth reporting needs to be expanded. So when we use the word, I think, Karma, you've been yourself in media for many, many years. You've seen that in-depth reporting doesn't really happen. And to make that happen, you need in-depth training of these journalists. And the form of training is changing right now. So I think we need to really bring journalists to just not talk about one report at a time, but go in depth to assist, facilitate this bill as well in a larger discussion, a larger forum. So that is something that I see a collective action that needs to be enabled. And enabling that can only happen with resources coming in and the bill being a reality and the action on the ground being coordinated and facilitated.
Right. And Triveni, do you think the bill is going to help? And is there a need really for a fund to be set up for rehabilitation especially?
I don't think she knew that you were addressing her.
Triveni, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you about the bill and the need for a government set up fund, especially for rehabilitation.
So new trafficking bill is good. There is a provision of the rehabilitation of the survivor of sex trafficking. Yeah, but some loafers also in bill. But see, government scheme also not immediate useful. If bill will be passed very short, but again the so many formality in government. But we believe in action. We can't wait for the government support for financially support. But yeah, we believe in action. So if the bill pass in parliament, then there is so many provision. The interstate so now we rescued the girls from the India, from the Mumbai, from the Delhi. So here we arrest the brothel manager, brothel keeper, but trafficker are in Assam. So interstate investigation is not till.
Right. So interstate coordination. You need better coordination between the states. It is not there.
Yeah.
Right. I would like to open it up for questions now. So if you have any questions, including the leadership team here at ICA, I would like to open it up for more questions. I can't see any questions right now on my chat box. So as soon as those questions come, I will put them up to either Hasina or Triveni. Once again, to you, Triveni, how do you empower those right now? I know it's very tough for you because you have over 400 people to look after right now. How do you empower those and rehabilitate those people that you have rescued?
Yeah, so we have a partners in Mumbai and all over India. So we get the support from them. But in Rescue Foundation, when we rescued the children and women from the sex slavery, our big responsibility starts. So we have a in-house so many courses like literacy classes, art and craft, and so many classes in our shelter home. And we empower them. We give them the confidence. So not empowering only in skill, but empowering in mind. So we give and yeah, so many girls are working in different places. We give them, all girls are illiterate, so we give them a different type of training. Not only the education, right to education, we get the order from the court, but we give them training like housekeeping and hospitality, even driving. So no need of a big degree. So we give them different type of training like nurse, and so we empowering them for the counseling and everything. So now our so many girls are auto driver, taxi driver. So many girls are working in big hospital for patient care, and so many girls are in police, in home guard, in civil, like home guard. So so many girls are empowered, and so many girls are in our shelter home are unwed mother. So we empowering girl, like if you are single mother, there is no problem. So we give them self-confidence.
Right. Right. Hasina, there's a question. Apart from the government and NGOs, how does law enforcement work with you. What about their, I guess, their training, etc.?
So under the Impulse model, we have worked very closely with the law enforcement in the 8 states of the northeast of India and North Bengal, which actually filtered down to other parts of the country as well. Now, training is an ongoing process for the law enforcement because we have many laws in India, but we have to also train them, how they should be sensitive and innovative in the way they use the law so that justice is actually met for survivors of human trafficking. Now, we partner with the Northeast Police Academy, where we have created a training manual for law enforcement, where it's an ongoing for the last 20 years now. But as the trend is changing, we are working towards getting more online tool, to train law enforcement, because today the trend is not the same as what it used to be when we started working on the issue of human trafficking, where it's rural to urban or, urban to other parts of the country, where the laws has to be dealt. But today it's about cybercrime, it's about online exploitation. So enforcement has to be trained on a continuous process. So that is where we are working very, very closely. We work with the anti-human trafficking units, which is actually set up by Ministry of Home Affairs as a directive that in every state of the Northeast, in the police headquarters, there's a specialized unit that actually it has the enforcement to work towards addressing human trafficking. And we have a collective action through a technology platform called Impulse Case Management Center. And that's an ongoing. But having said that, we need to see that changing mindset of the law enforcement cannot happen overnight. It has to be a continuous process and a collective efforts.
Right. Triveni, there's a question for you. You had earlier mentioned that you faced resistance when you started work from your neighbors and family. Have attitudes changed with people? Is the community more welcoming?
Yes, still social stigma in our society. Yeah, but now some scenario change. Some people come forward to help us. So now our police, our law and judiciary sensitized to help us. Now our society also slowly accept, and now they understand the human trafficking. Previously, 25 years ago, they believe this. They have no idea about the human trafficking. They believe they are prostitutes, they are sex workers, they are call girls. Now they believe they are traffic victims. So now slowly, the people also aware about the human trafficking, but still in India, social stigma also all around. Even our Delhi, we start our new home in 2017, our shelter home and community. All our community, Jat and Gurjar people, oppose our activity. They say that they are bad people, they are sex workers, they spoil our area, and they complaining about our activity. And government also deny our license. So after so many requesting and our RTI, not RTI, our petition in High Court and Supreme Court, now we got the license this year because all our Delhi, so many children and women are vulnerable, are on street. So the labor, so many labor are shifted from Delhi to other area, but so many girls and women are here. So now government provide us a license and we start our shelter home in Delhi. So last 1 year, so many girls, more than 100 girls and women got the admission in our shelter home.
And this is a problem, because the press has been found wanting. The press here, I must admit, me being from fraternity, we are too busy looking at other issues than to report on these vital issues that the society needs. Hasina, there's a question for you on the laws. Can you talk about supporting laws that don't criminalize the victims of trafficking? In the US, still an issue. Basically, I guess the 2021 bill kind of does away with victimizing the victim, criminalizing the victim, isn't it?
Yes, so I think the bill has actually brought in more sensitivity in the existence of the different laws in India. So when we're looking at ITPA, Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act, it has gone through an amendment, and that amendment, of course, does not criminalize, survivors of human trafficking, but at the same time, it is also having a loophole that needs to be looked more, more deeper, in the sense that many a times, unless until we apply multiple laws when a case is being booked, because a girl might be trafficked when she is 14, 15, but she is rescued when she is a young woman. So the application of booking a case with multiple laws, whether we're talking about the JJ Act, we are talking about POCSO, and we are talking about bringing this together so that the support service under the framework of the law is actually being ensured to the survivors of human trafficking after rescued, where she can also be entitled to get, compensation. So it's very, very important. Juvenile Justice Act enables sensitivity where a child who's been rescued is actually not produced in the court, but rather in the Child Welfare Committee. If we're looking at POCSO, we're looking at the multiple abuses that the girl might have gone through during the period of being trafficked. So innovation can happen when multiple laws are being booked together, enabling the support services by the government and enforcement and the NGO to work together so that the girl receive justice. And the justice is just about a rescue and bring to a shelter home. Justice is about getting the prosecution also take place and not getting the trafficker go scot-free, because that's the only way when you send a strong message. When prosecution takes place, then it enables the country to see that there's no, the laws is strong. So that is one enabling factor when we're looking at laws and how it responds towards human trafficking.
Right. Triveni, there's a question for you. What kind of challenges do you face in high-risk areas?
Yeah, every day we face the new challenges. We face the challenges in the stock technology. So the syndicate of trafficker and the criminals, they are more, they have a unity. And if they got the information, if our information leaked, we not get the girls, we not able to rescue the girls from the red light district, yeah, anywhere. So every day new challenges. So we have to learn like them, the new technology. Sometimes the government policies, sometimes so many challenges from the from everywhere. Yeah, sometimes police.
Hasina was just telling me, in fact, Triveni, last time, how fast things move, because they don't. I mean, you all don't inform anyone when you're going to rescue a survivor, and especially sometimes because they've got all the hidden alleyways. And Hasina was telling me such a story from Silchar, where they kept everything top secret. But despite that, one person knowing can derail the entire plan that you worked for months, to be able to rescue the survivor. Hasina, one question to you. Due to the pandemic, many children have been orphaned. Any work going on to prevent them from being trafficked?
Yeah, so this has been a lot of hue and cry about COVID-19 and a lot of children in the country being orphaned because of the fact that where will they be put up? So one is they being sent to a shelter home or they being offered a foster care is one important aspect to reduce any kind of vulnerability for children who are orphaned. But at the same time, I think community at large, I think in India, we need to also look at foster care as a way of reducing vulnerability of children. Of course, going under CARA guideline, we need to make that an application, which is very important, because just putting them in a shelter home, how many shelter home can actually enable to put many, many orphans, right? So that's important. But we also have to see that many of the shelter home in the country in the last few years, we have seen that these shelter home has exploited children as well. They have been misused by the most powerful people, where children are being exploited while they're being put in the shelter home. So stringent, standard operating procedures for shelter homes, where a check and balance is also being put, so that children who are orphaned and being sent to shelter homes are not vulnerable under the pretext of what we call it protection. So there's very, very important element that needs to also be spoken much more largely by the stakeholders like the government in the whole system at large, unless we will see children who are often sent to shelter home, but exploited at the shelter home. And that is also going to be a very, very challenging mode for organization like us who work on the space, because we cannot just bring everybody under shelter home. We need foster care. We need community to start accepting adoption. We need people to come forward and look at adoption as a way to enable more protection on children.
Right, especially so because, a study by the Azim Premji University estimated that nearly 230 million Indians have now fallen below the poverty line since the pandemic started. It's almost 2 years now. And this is a very vulnerable population, and they are perfect right now for exploitation. So Triveni, there's a question for you. Do you think the law and order, the government is doing enough to stop human trafficking?
It's not possible for government to stop the human trafficking because the demand. So in India, comparison to 100 women, there is a 70 girls. In some state like Rajasthan and some Haryana. So, and government has not a machinery. Even the anti-human trafficking unit, we filed a writ petition in court to provide the police, all district in anti-human trafficking unit. They have no vehicle, they have no lady staff, and without a woman lady police constable, we cannot go to rescue the children. So it's not for government, it's not possible if they take the, and always the police, our Indian police, get the help from the NGO. So NGO and civil society and the police, we work together. So not only possible for us, not possible for the police to stop the human trafficking.
Right, and Hasina, you and Triveni not being able to trust the very people that are tasked with working to you from the government, especially the enforcement. That's a huge problem, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, we also have to see that it's human being within the system, whether it's in the NGO sector or the law enforcement. Corruption is a factor which actually brings the fact the response to human trafficking. So corruption continue to happen. People who are in these systems are human beings, and in both, whether it's the government or the non-government. So if we have to look at system change, we also have to look at change makers, who believe and passionately, go for human right approach. And that is the way we have approached over the many, many years, because if you don't have trust, it's very difficult to work on addressing human trafficking. But at the same time, we have to have, the do and don'ts that constantly keep us alert, that, where we have to act what. And that is where we have actually worked with many leaders within the system, whether it's enforcement, whether it's media, whether it's the NGO, where we address the issue in a more sensitive manner. But at the same time, being very alert, as you just mentioned. If you do a rescue operation, you don't know the whole chain, of the enforcement, who is going to be corrupted and who's not going to be corrupted. So it's also a factor of the alertness and how to respond timely into that. So that is where working on crime as human trafficking is, a 24/7 in action, that you have to keep thinking. You cannot be sleeping over it, but you have to always be alert on the way we respond to it.
That's why I told you Hasina can go on for 24 hours. I guess you need that kind of passion, patience. So Triveni, one last question to you. It's a slightly difficult question, but since members asked, I must put this question out too. Who are the buyers? Are there any data available?
Actually, the data is not available with us, not with police, not with government machinery. Yeah, but my experience last 25 years, buyers is maybe coolie, maybe the big industrialist, tourist. So so many buyers are very good people, gentlemen. They provide the information to us. So many buyers are student, IT student. In Pune's IT hostel, there is the hostel, hub of hostel for IT student. And they are our informer. They are buyers. And last year, in 2019, we start the one project, zero tolerance, and there is a we start to punish the customer, but in our law there is a not possible.
Okay.
Right. So Triveni, thank you so much for doing what you are doing. I know that you are coming to Guwahati soon, and we will meet and look forward to talking with you more here in Guwahati. Hasina, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I guess from the three of us, this is what we have. Sincerely request everyone to do your bit in curbing this menace from our society, not just from here in India, but from across the world, especially our neighbors, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Bhutan, Nepal. We can never forget this in our fight together. So thank you from us. It's over to you.
So Karma, is that all the questions? I think we have many more questions. I think which will sort of send. If you have sent us your email, we'll certainly send them to you. And anyway, this has been absolutely fascinating, all three of you, but at the same time, in some ways, it is horrifying, unimaginable. The numbers are so scary. The numbers, Karma, for example, what you quoted, and the privation suffered by the victims. Our speakers today show extraordinary courage. Hasina, Triveni, have showed us extraordinary courage in working against those who are profiting from such crimes. Okay, and they're very powerful. In the process of their activities, you're also taking a personal risk to do what is absolutely right. And that is, this understanding, the empathy, the compassion is impressive and awe-inspiring for me and for all of us tonight, the audience. Even a collective kudos from all of us, I feel, is totally inadequate. On behalf of ICA and our audience, a heartfelt thanks to our speakers. And many thanks also to our moderator, Karma, who skillfully allowed our guests to speak about the salient points in their lives and work. Finally, I would like to thank the ICA team, especially those involved behind the scenes, managing the tech and all that. Even though we had some issues initially, I think they all cleared up, okay? And so thank you all so much for coming, the audience too. And now I call on Reshma for her final thoughts.
Hasina, Triveni, and Karma, I don't know how to thank you. I feel so humbled and so insignificant considering what work you guys are doing. And it's amazing that you've endured this, and what you have shared today. I mean, I've been involved with ICA for many, many years, but even I do not know that the police cannot help, the government cannot help. Students are buyers of this heinous crime. I mean, some of the things that came up was just so amazing. And I urge all our listeners to spread the word, to get involved and reach out within our, we should all reach out within ourselves and see how we can help, either by volunteering, by donating, by spreading the word, by writing about this. I mean, we all have social media. The politicians are using it to their advantage. I think we should also use it to our advantage, not just talk about, fashion and clothes and vacations, but topics such as this. And I also know a lot of us who are not on social media, and I want you all to go on social media because that's where you reach people. And again, others are using it. We should be using it for our purposes. If donation is a possibility and you are able to donate, because not everyone can do this work, not everyone can be involved, please go to icaonline.com. It's icaonline.org, not .com, icaonline.org. You'll find lots of donate buttons. You'll find links to all our partners in India. And as you know, we send all the money back. There is a very small amount that is used for the transaction. But please, I urge you all to participate in some way or the other. And once you're on the ICA website, explore. Maybe you want to be, joining ICA, or friends who want to do this. So thank you very much. I leave you with this very grim reality of what is going on. And I was in Cincinnati at the Slavery Museum 2 years ago, and it was just tracing American slavery. And then there was a section in the end on how slavery as we knew it had ended in the US because it was government sanctioned, as you know. But the reality now is that the largest number of people under slavery are in India. And my husband and I were just walking through and feeling very good that India has no such government sanctioned stuff. And then we come across this section where India was the top country, and it's mostly prostitution of women, of men, and of course children, which was heartrending. And since then, this has been a big topic that has affected me greatly. And some of you have been writing about children who become orphans during the pandemic and what we can do about it. If you guys have ideas, please share with us because we are here to help. I should get off the soapbox now because it's late. Please stay on and listen to this and watch this 3-minute video that is very, very illuminating. And Padma will play it for us now. But thank you all for coming. Thank you, ICA, the community, and for putting this great forum. We do this every 4 months, and we pick topics of relevance. If you have ideas on what you'd like to see covered, please send it to us, and we'll make sure that we do this. So thank you all.
And Reshma,
Good morning in India.